Okay. Welcome, everybody. This is our impromptu hack Devpost workshop. I'm Stephanie. I've been working here for quite a long time, and you've probably heard from me at some point. And we have my team of wonderful hackathon managers and support people, marketing, prize distribution. Lots of people you've probably spoken to if you're participating in our hackathon here. We're really excited to do this one that is just for fun, kind of learn stuff that we want to learn as opposed to something that a sponsor is promoting specifically. And we know you guys participate a lot, so we're really excited to hear your ideas and see what you guys come up with. So for this, we are going to do a few slides about inspiration and tips for good projects, that sort of thing. But we're also going to include some trivia that you guys can win swag for because we like trivia and swag. This will be Devpost trivia, just FYI. Cool. And feel free to post questions in the chat at any time. We have some people on our team who will be keeping track of who's winning and ask questions, and we can answer them at the end. Cool. Okay. Trivia. Which competition inspired the founding of this company? There's the Windows on Mac competition. The Netflix prize for their recommendation algorithm back in the day, and the X prize, which is like a huge nonprofit prize competition site, and then or D, all of the above. Give people a minute to answer.
I think we may have a winner in the chat.
It is. I see one of them came through. It's D. It's all of the above. This one came straight from our CEO this morning. Congratulations to who won. Cool.
Cool. So I'm Michelle. I've been in the Discord chat, probably chatting to a few of you. I'm going to go over a few tools, starting with capturing and editing your video. Now, a video isn't required for this one, but it could help. So something that we use internally here and some stuff that's free is QuickTime, or your operating system's like free screen capture. We use that a bunch. Also Zoom. So we're recording this meeting. I can easily take that after and edit it. And now to edit those things, also using a bunch of free stuff. So iMovie is Mac native. You could also probably do Loom. I love the suggestions. We also use Canva. There's a free version of it. It can allow you to do presentations and some like fun design things. Any other suggestions in the chat for like tools to edit and get videos? See Loom. I think, did we do a hackathon on Loom? I think Danny did one. Like, yeah, Miro, nice. DaVinci Resolve free version. Another Loom, nice. Cool. And then, sorry?
I was gonna say, we'll include all the things you guys are saying in a follow-up too, so that we share all the information.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then visualization. So a visualization, which could be a video, but also could just be an easy screenshot. Definitely that's required for the idea submission. So Figma is something that we suggested, but I think John mentioned it. Canva's a little easier. You can use Canva too, definitely. You can also use like a screenshot. So literally screenshotting a screen on Devpost and then making little edits on like your operating system's photo editor. That works too. I do that so much. And like most of our help documents are literally that, screenshots with squares showing you where to click and stuff. So also Google Docs. So there's a Google Docs, obviously free. They have like a drawing feature on there where you can do little like presentations that I think is on the next slide as an example. Yeah, so you could draw this. I don't think it was drawn on Google Docs, but putting circles together, little icons, drag and drop, little arrows, you know, just showing the judges really quickly what the flow is, or what you kind of were thinking when you came up with your idea. Yeah, Canva, I think you can have videos on there. Yeah. Here's another example. So this was actually from one of our internal hackathons about similar to this, but just our little team was doing something. And one of our devs, copied our kind of vibe of Devpost, put a little screenshot, came up with a little like matchmaker questions, and kind of tried to show what that would look like for a dev. So that's like another simple thing to do. More trivia.
Cool. Fun fact, that hackathon project you were just showing, it was called OK Devpost. It was supposed to be like OK Cupid matching. We had a good time. Okay, what was Devpost originally called? If you read our updates, because I told, or not updates, discussion forum. I almost wore the shirt just to be fun, but I didn't. Who knows it? Yep. Somebody got a challenge post. Fun fact, our CEO's children are still mad about it. They wish that he never agreed to change it. They like challenge posts better. Little company lore.
Cool. And if you're looking for inspiration, there's, I guess, just going right back into information, but to find inspiration, you can look at the Devpost project page. There's a link at the top of Devpost projects, or it's just devpost.com/projects. And there's a bunch of filters you can use. So is winner is a good one. You can filter that by recent or most popular to see like really popular winners, what they submitted, how they described, or maybe how they showed off their project. You can also use tags. So like hashtag Figma could show you everyone that used Figma or tagged Figma in their project. Same with like Canva, if they used Canva on the project. Yeah, I personally like the is winner one. I think I link to that the most. But yeah, that's just a good example to find really cool projects.
It's kind of like not a missing piece, but something people don't really think too much about if you're looking through the hackathon search. As opposed to that, there's a lot of fun filters you can look through, get inspiration for other hackathons too. The tag galleries are pretty interesting. Okay. This is going to be the Price is Right rules, closest guess without going over. How many participants did our biggest 2020 hackathon have, which was the COVID-19 Global Hackathon 1.0, and it was a big collaboration between like Facebook and AWS and Microsoft and a lot of big companies. They also participated. Let's see. Keep guessing. We'll give you like, I don't know, a minute or so. We can come back to the answer for that one so that we get the closest without making people wait around. Come on, everybody guess something. Except for Devpost people.
There's swag on the line.
As it someone found it. Yep. 32 ones. 18,683. And Devpost, we had a little panic moment where we weren't sure if our site would would handle it, but we did it. It worked, and it was a huge success, obviously.
Cool. So more tools that are free and nice to use. And just to make your submission stand out, GIFs are easier if you're not down for a full video, clipping it up into a GIF. So personally, I think Shawnee suggested this at one point, but Easy GIF, I think it's easygif.com. You can Google it, it's free. You can just import a video, import a bunch of frames that you want to be made into a GIF, and it'll GIF it up for you. Also emojis just adds a little more emotion and personality to your submission. Not an endorsement, but a tool we like. Yeah, it's just easy. Easy to use, easy GIF. Yes, but emojis can throw errors if you just copy and paste real emoji. So using Markdown, so making sure you have a URL to emoji or image and adding it as an image using Markdown is the way to go.
The way I cheat the system is I use Slack emojis, and then I right click on them and I do save image URL and then I insert image. It's just very hacky, but it works. Doesn't give you errors. Or any image, obviously. It doesn't have to be Select.
And here's an example of a submission that added all these things. So they actually added a GIF to the top here, and added emojis and images. I have a link. It's Health If AI. That's a project that I was able to find using the project filters. And it's just really cool, kind of above and beyond, but whatever you can do to help make your submission stand out for judges. I just thought this was pretty cool.
It's a good one. Okay. Now that you know it was originally called Challenge Post, what year did it go live to the world? Come on. Close, but no. Nope. Nope.
It's older. Let's just say that.
Probably older than you think. Well, not super old. Yeah,
Nice.
2009. Actually, the 2009/2008 is even more correct because the company technically was founded in 2008, but it wasn't live until 2009. So that's the year we go by when we tell people. So technically, you won that twice. Cool.
All right. So I'm Sarah. If you previously won a prize on Devpost, I've probably sent it to you. And I've been going through a lot of the submissions that have come in so far for Hack Devpost, and I've been just noticing some common things. So I just wanted to, I'm going to stop sharing the slides for a minute, and I am going to go ahead and, oops, and no trivia yet. Sorry, wherever that was. I'm going to share an actual submission. So I'm going to go through the flow with you and just show you what the submission flow looks like and just give you some tips on it. So we start on the very first tab here of Manage Team. And this is really important because this particular hackathon, we are not allowing teams. It's individuals only. So in terms of Manage Team, there is no managing. It's just yourself. You are the team. Don't add any teammates. So that's easy. Don't have to do anything on that page. Save and continue. For the project overview, this is where you want to think of something a little bit catchy, perhaps catchier than what I came up with. Come up with a good name and an elevator pitch, and this will be on the very top of your submission. It'll be the first thing the judges see, and of course a little thumbnail to go along with it, keeping along here with the theme of our Hack Devpost cat thing. And that's it for that page. Save and continue. For the details, the project story, just note that this story is only if you're submitting an idea to the idea track. If you're only submitting feedback, you don't need anything here. You can write something if you'd like, but this is for the idea portion. And you want to include as many details as possible. This is when you're really going to be convincing us of, or convincing the judges of what on Devpost can be improved. This built with and try it out is not totally necessary for this particular hackathon, since you're not actually building a project or an app, but feel free to get creative on there. And then here in the project media is where you're going to include your visual representation, whether it's screenshots, video, whatever. Be sure you create something, even if it's simple. And the video demo link you can put in there if you're sharing a video. Okay, so this additional info tab is where I think a lot of people have been getting a little confused, because a lot of these questions are not required. And the reason they're not required is because that's the way we had to make it, so that people could submit only to the idea track if they wanted only to be considered for their idea. But if you are submitting feedback. And if you want to be eligible for the feedback track or for both, you must answer all of these questions. So it doesn't necessarily look like it, but if you want to have your feedback judged, or if you're entering both idea and feedback, please answer all the questions under additional questions. And the more details you put in there, the better. And then that's it. You review everything, give a final check, agree to the terms and conditions, and submit, and you're all set. Like I said, I've been reviewing a lot of the submissions that have come in so far, and just a few things that I just wanted to point out, because they've been kind of common issues that have come up, is to, first of all, just make sure you're selecting the right track. If you answered the questions under additional info, that qualifies you for feedback or for both. So there have been a lot of people that have been selecting idea, but have been also answering the questions. And so we've been suggesting that they change their track to both. Make sure your project is relevant to this hackathon. It seems like an obvious suggestion, but there have been some submissions that are for apps that aren't really related to Devpost at all. So make sure you're reading the guidelines and the rules, and your project is relevant. Don't be afraid to give constructive criticism. We are looking, the whole point of this hackathon is to look for ways that Devpost can improve, and we want all of your feedback. And also, of course, I already mentioned this, but remember that the hackathon is only for individual submitters, no teams. So that's good for you. You get all the prize money if you win. For the feedback track, more info and details you provide, the better. And also be sure you answer all those questions, even though you can technically get by clicking the save and continue link without answering them. You will only be considered eligible if you answer everything. And for the idea track, don't forget the visual representation. That's been kind of a common thing. There have been a lot of people that have been missing that part of the rules. Doesn't have to be fancy, doesn't have to be a video. You don't have to include a video. Simple images are fine. And also to remember that you don't have to create or build an app, just suggest an idea. And that your idea does not have to be related to your feedback. You can consider them as two separate entries. So those are just some things that I've noticed working on reviewing these submissions. And I'm going to move back to the slides here to our next trivia question.
What's the name of the Hack Devpost mascot? She also just came in, but you can't see it because I have a background on. Yeah. She was my COVID pet, and she has become the love of everybody's life, I hope.
And fun fact, she's the only cat at the company.
Yeah, everyone else has dogs or almost has geese. Yes. Yeah, we'll share everything after. Somebody posted that.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kimmy. I'm going to be one of the judges for the hackathon, and I have a few quick tips for you. The first one is probably the most important one so far. So number one, keep in mind the judging criteria, because the judges will. They'll reference them each time they're reviewing a submission. And what's cool and great about Hack Devpost criteria is that it's in the form of questions. So it's best to ask yourself the same questions when you're submitting your submission. So for example, for feedback submissions, did you thoroughly answer the questions? Is your feedback effective? And would it help Devpost from a business aspect and move us forward? For idea submissions, does your idea showcase all aspects of the criteria? So for example, does your solution not only show how desirable it would be to the broader Devpost community, but is it also a practical solution? And as you can see, all those questions are part of the criteria. My second tip is just to be mindful of how easy it is to understand your submission. So for example, if you're submitting an idea, do you explain the problem and the solution? It's really best to not leave the judges guessing what your submission is about. And lastly, is to get feedback. Just to get feedback from your peers about whether or not your submission really wows them, because it's likely that if they're impressed, that the judges will be impressed as well. And that's really it. So best of luck for your submissions and the rest of the hackathon.
Any questions?
It looks like there's some in the chat.
There was, let me scroll up. First 20 submissions. So we've been going through them as they come in, and we've been marking them if their feedback and they arrived in that first 20 and they're eligible, then they get into that first 20. So we do know if someone goes in and edits it, but it was that like first eligible mark there.
Sarah's keeping close eye on you.
Yeah, did we miss one? Yeah, we'll be recording the video, sharing that later. Earliest basis given. Okay, yeah, we'll give the video. It's getting recorded to cloud, so that should be like, I feel like that takes less than an hour to get, and then we'll put it on YouTube or something so we can share it. If there's a feature idea like introducing a button on idea page, then how would represent on a video visually? You have to replicate a page to show the idea page. How would you do that? I'm wondering if you would do a screenshot and then show edits to it. If you wanted to do a video, you could record yourself explaining it on top of your screenshot. I know you can do that with iMovie, like import a screenshot, have that play for like a minute, just static on the screenshot with your voice over it. That's something you could do. Does anyone else have an idea of like how to display or explain that?
That makes sense to me. Yeah, I think almost like a prototype screen, like it doesn't have to be fancy. It could just be explained with text after, or in the video when you're talking. Just yeah, we're not judging our artistic skills today.
Can't you also just do what you normally would do for a hackathon, is do a walkthrough of how you came up with the idea, and then
Yep.
Might be a short one, but I think the idea is behind something and what the inspirations always matter.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I do have a question whenever
Mhm.
you're ready.
Go for
Yeah,
it.
I think we're caught
Oh,
up.
so hi everybody. With regards to the I know that some folks are thinking about the first 20.
Mhm.
So if you're going back in and modifying your feedback, do we have to worry about that, or did you capture? Because if you substantially change your feedback, you may have already had substantial feedback there, but if you go in and really change it a lot, is that going to mess things up for you? That's part one. And then part two is, if you have an idea and you're going to try to submit an idea, should you keep it completely isolated from the first submission of feedback, or should you go back into the original submission and then play with both?
Good question.
Yeah, good question.
So the second one is easier, which is you can do either. You could submit feedback and idea together. You could submit multiple. And then to the point about editing, so obviously there's no it's not like specifically how much feedback you gave up front versus how much you edited it. We're kind of looking to make sure it wasn't, we'll fill this in later, like TBD, complete, like nothing, like nonsense. Like if it's actual feedback, we've counted it as being an early submission.
But you captured that already, so you
Yeah.
have a record of that, so it doesn't matter what you do at this point. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that was the case.
Mhm.
Because I did not submit in the first day or anything, but it's like, oh, I don't want to mess anything up.
Yeah. No worries. We have timestamps and manual checks that we're doing, like Sarah's.
Okay.
Well, for sure. Good question.
Great, thank you.
Others? Even questions about not this hackathon, maybe Devpost questions or anything.
So when you make a pizza, I'm kidding. Um, when your sales folks are talking to potential sponsors, how are you, I guess, how are you pitching to them the different options that they have for things like, obviously there's a difference between managed and unmanaged. I always thought every hackathon was managed, but to a different level. I just found out from the folks at MLH, I guess you don't have to actually sign up or pay anything. You can just use the platform.
There's
Is that
there's a
true?
scale. So yeah, so the online hackathons are generally like they go longer than, a couple days, like an MLH one might. Pretty much anything longer than that, they pay some level. They can manage it themselves, almost like a platform rental fee, like where we're not super involved, but they get in our listings and they get some extra, promo in the newsletter and that sort of thing. And then, yeah, then the managed hackathons are tiered. We started adding the managed it by Devpost thing. Just shout out to Michelle. She figured out how to do that with her skills. Just a couple weeks back, because we realized that was not a kind of necessarily common knowledge. So like if we are involved in the administration of a hackathon, like helping you guys, reviewing submissions, that sort of thing, then we are like administrating it, and we are now tagging that is the case. It's sort of a level of like I'm gonna say liability, that sounds bad, but like us saying this follows the rules versus them saying this follows the rules. And we've obviously seen a lot of hackathons, so we're a little bit better about that usually. And then the marketing packages vary also depending on what they're paying.
But if there's an organization that wants to go ahead and host a hackathon on your platform, they don't have to pay a nickel or a dime?
For in-person hackathons
No,
or
no,
like
for virtual,
short online? Yeah.
purely virtual. So they don't
Oh.
have, they can go for free.
Not for longer than like, I feel like sorry, I'm confusing ourselves. Let us follow up, because we had some caveats for that during like the pandemic, when everybody obviously had to cancel in-person stuff they had planned. So there was some leeway on it, but I don't actually know where we stand on that now. Generally, companies pay us.
Okay,
Colleges or like nonprofit groups or like coding clubs, they generally do not.
okay. I was just curious. Again, I just was speaking with the folks at MLH, and they said, "Oh, we don't have to pay," or at least for some things they don't. But they only
For
have
the
like
most part, they're doing
one day
in-person.
challenges.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we've been working with them for a long time.
And then when you do your pitches for the different tiers, do you guys show them any metrics for anything in terms of what might contribute to a more successful hackathon? Out of curiosity.
We certainly try when we're we're discussing with them. We don't actually do the sales, so maybe we should get some follow-up questions from Richard. He's the head of our sales team, and he's probably happy to explain all of that like better than I can.
I was actually thinking we could probably share their pitch deck.
Yeah.
I mean, this is where my ideas are now flowing, which
Yeah.
when to share with everybody doesn't matter to me, but it's because you look at some hackathons, like you look at the Google AR Core Kit one, and I think there was a lot of participants, but very few submissions. And I'm wondering, what is it that makes one hackathon have more submissions than another? What are the factors that are at play there?
You asked the eternal question for us here. Our general answer to that is like, it depends, right? Like there are things that can drive up the registration numbers, like sometimes paid ads, for example, like sometimes they're great. Sometimes they just get a lot of clicks and people register, but they maybe weren't going to, maybe they weren't developers in the first place, or they might not be the right audience.
But take a look at Snap. Snap had a huge ratio, well, huge, I wouldn't say huge, but let's say greater than Google, but they both, I wouldn't say, neither was a very simple technology stack to implement. Snap maybe a little easier than the AR Core Kit, but they're both, it's not like you sit there and you can just say, oh, okay, if I've never worked with Snap before, it's not like it's trivial. It does require a lot of effort.
That was at least our third, but possibly more than 3 Snap competitions. So there was also some like baseline knowledge, I think.
And then the community too, I guess, because Wix, like for example, the Wix is going on right now, they have a very active Discord channel. It's kind of crazy, much more active than I'm used to seeing.
They're really good at it. we like to follow their lead too.
I copied them.
yeah.
I copied them for
What's
We're
sure.
that?
like, good idea, we're doing that.
Yeah, like their welcome, their hello thing, definitely stole that from them, and their points, definitely borrowed that from them.
Well, you got more
Uh,
questions and comments, so I'm gonna shut up now.
No,
Otherwise,
that's
I'll
good.
talk
It's
for,
a good
I'll
topic.
talk and ask
We'll
questions
gladly
forever.
talk to you about it more later too,
Oh.
because like our whole thing, so we have a lot of opinions on it.
All right, we had another question about pricing, a percentage of prize or something. We don't have to do a percentage of prize. We'll just maybe share the slide deck. It'll show you like, pretty much we have marketing services and then project management services. Marketing is obviously marketing, and then PM is like, you'll get assigned one of us, and we help plan it. And there's different tiers for that. So it's a little, there's just like a lot of information, but so probably a whole other slide deck for that. I have done coding in my project. Would I focus on my design a representation of the idea? One of, and maybe Kimmy can talk about this, for ideas, there is one criteria about, I think it's about readiness, or what is that criteria? Do you remember? I should bring it up on the site. Readily usable. So that's about how far did the participant go to build out the idea, how well it was thought out, stuff like that. So it's kind of included. So if you went beyond and beyond, kind of, doesn't hurt. But also, yeah, just make sure you explain it really well and show it, show all this work you did.
Yeah, we're not gonna look at the code behind your project. So I think it's a lot of it is exactly what Michelle said, explaining what your project is very important. Oh, sorry, I was reading another question. But yeah, I mean, if you want to go all out and code something out, I think just representing it is what's important.
Oh, should I? Oh, if people have the exact same idea, which could potentially hypothetically,
This happens a lot actually in regular hackathons, and judging criteria generally comes down to like which one had better. I'm gonna say generally, I'm not judging those, so like just in theory, this is like how it works. Like how well it was explained, like how finished kind of the project is, or how complete, who displays it and explains its use and benefits the best.
yeah.
Individuals,
Individual only, yeah.
but you can do multiple, like you could, one teammate could submit one as an individual, right? Like we just want separate feedback forms, essentially. We want everybody's opinion.
Cool. Any other questions? Going once, going, oh,
Ooh,
whoa,
robot, because that makes me really excited.
a robot, does it tell you to wake up and start working on your project? That would be awesome.
I don't really know what the question is, but yeah.
Next one, John.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for the robotic stuff, I mean, that sounds really cool. Hardware is cool. It sounds like you've got a unique project going on. But yeah, just make sure you explain it and the reason for it.
And how it could be like useful to a lot of people.
A lot of people, yeah.
Although, robot would be pretty fun.
It comes to your house, knocks on your door and
Yeah.
says, have you submitted your hackathon project?
Yeah. It's just Cassie's, it comes by and reads Cassie's emails to you. I would be okay with that.
I love a good robot.
Usually in our college both get, we're not going to disqualify because
They're the same.
yeah,
Unless,
and
like it's copy and pasted.
yeah, exactly. If you like directly copied somebody, sure, but It's ideas, it's not code, so we just want as many interesting ideas, and you might have a different reason for coming up with an idea that somebody else had. Like there could be a completely different benefit to it that the first person didn't think of, right? There's lots of potential.
I will say there are a lot of submissions in there now, and there are some that are similar to each other, but no two identical, because yeah, like Steph was saying, people kind of have different reasons and people have different explanations. And I think it's pretty unlikely that two would be so similar that it wouldn't be able to, it would be a tie.
Yeah. If it was, and our team was just like, this is amazing, then we'll give you an extra prize or something. Like we'll figure it out. Like awesome. Cool. Do you guys are you enjoying this hackathon so far? We're all enjoying it, but it's like fun for us because we just get to put cats on everything. Well,
Of course they are.
how could you not? Everybody's having fun today.
It's Thursday. How many prizes can one win across all categories? I think the total was 3. I can copy and paste the rule in it, but I think,
Finding it. Let's see.
yeah, it was like one of the first. So you can be a first 20 and then something else.
You can
The
win
2
one of the
others.
prizes by the judges score, 1 community choice. And then first 20 eligible feedback, which is like not the scores.
Right, community choice.
So yeah, so if everybody votes on your idea and the judges liked it, you can win both of those. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, well, we'll hang up and start dealing with this recording. And then we'll see you guys all. We are actually, I think this was suggested in Discord to do a wrap up. So I'm gonna plan that because that was suggested this week, and probably for the winner announcement is the current plan. Haven't planned it yet, but we'll probably just get Jeff involved, our head of product, who's going to be one of the judges. And yeah, best of luck, everyone.
We'll try to get Grant. We'll try to get Richard in there too to give some more sales
Oh
conversation.
yeah.
He loves to talk about it. So awesome.
Cool.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you all.
Good job, Michelle.
Bye.
Bye.